Welcome back, everyone, to the Paige Kornblue Show. Today, we're talking about health in totality, not just working out harder, but training smarter, from what you eat to how you move to what your metabolism is really telling you. Gravity and Oxygen Fitness in Boca Raton is paving the way here. I've got founder and owner Paul Christopher by my side. He's my right-hand man today and in the gym with his team. He's at the helm at Gravity and Oxygen Fitness, and he's going to pass the torch a little bit to his team throughout this podcast episode. But first, I introduce Paul Christopher, who's going to introduce his fearsome three. I was going to say four, but we got a trio here. I have the four, but you're going to introduce the three. So Paul, here, take it away.
Thank you for passing the microphone.
Exactly.
Paige, first of all, thank you for having us on again. This is the next edition of knowledge for your consumer, right?
Right.
And this is incredible knowledge based by our fantastic team. And I'm honored to have them not only on our team, but here with you today. So first, probably our longest standing team member, Haley Foss. Haley Foss is a certified personal trainer, also a certified nutrition coach through Precision Nutrition. She's our lead nutrition coordinator, group exercise instructor, an all-around utility person, manager of many things, and we're honored to have her. So when it comes to the food component, she's going to be your guide. Next, we have Miss Bruna Lorenzetti, just an absolute rock star when it comes to training. Her sweet spot is strength. So she's going to fill us in on the importance of strength training, and I'm excited to hear what she has to say. We're honored to have her on our team as well. And then this gentleman in the blue shirt is Michael Gallagher, 20 years of experience within the fitness field. He is our health and human performance coordinator, and his specialty is metabolic testing. And without going too deep into the details, I don't want to steal his thunder. That's going to be his component of explanation. So once again, thank you for having us, and take it away.
Okay. I have one more question for you, Paul, before you go. When it comes to all being under one roof, the training, the nutrition, the recovery, the science behind it, why is that so? I know it sounds obvious, but to share with everyone why that's so important and so many people, unfortunately, lack in their fitness routine.
Well, it truly is a comprehensive aspect of success for your health, right? To be myopic to just doing training and not be mindful of what you eat every day, because it's how you fuel. That's going to be how your car runs, right? But what gets measured gets managed. So understand where you are from a strength standpoint. How might we be able to improve your ability to do push-ups, bench, deadlift 10%? What's going on internally? So metabolism, as Mike will speak about, gives us so much more information. So that comprehensive data of your physical components, your internal components, is what leads to greater successful outcomes for our clientele.
Very good. I think that's an important kind of overview, right? Coach? Okay, so Haley, I want to go to you with nutrition. A lot of people know that the proper fuel is vital, right? As a trainer, as a nutrition coach, and all of the strengths that you have, why, if we start at the basics, is the proper fueling so essential?
Yeah, no, of course, it's a great question. And it's one of the things that often gets missed. But when it comes to fueling for your workouts, before we even cover that, I always ask my clients, whether they're with me for nutrition or not, how do you feel during your workouts? And sometimes it's like, oh, I'm so tired. I can't push through. I don't feel strong. Or they're feeling very inconsistent from one day to the next, which is normal, but that's where we have to look at other factors, nutrition being one of them too. So, you look at your athletes, right? And this conversation probably isn't for them, but your athletes, fueling is so important from the moment they wake up. And that's a big part of who they are. But for us, everyday folk that's just trying to stay healthy, it's a big part of what we do too. So when I talk to my clients about, how do you feel during your workouts, and they're giving me those responses, then we have to look at nutrition as one of the factors. Of course, there's sleep, there is everything else, but sometimes just having a little bit of carbs or some protein before and after your workout can make a huge difference. So I always ask those questions like, how are you feeling in your workouts? Are your workouts consistent? And based on the responses, like just looking at pre-workout nutrition and post-workout nutrition, we can get some great results from that.
So just a few go-to examples of what you like to grab before a workout. What would you say?
Oh man, a banana, hands down, is my all-time favorite pre-workout. You can take any supplement that's on the shelf that's got this, that, and the other, have a banana, and then come back to me and tell me how that feels for you. But banana is for sure one of my go-tos. And it depends on what kind of workout you're doing too. And that's when we really get down to the nitty-gritty. But just for somebody who's just trying to feel better in their workout or more energized, just having a little bit of carbs beforehand, the right carbs, can really go a long way.
You know, you mentioned athletes, and so many of them have, right, the teams, whether it's collegiate or professional, or they have a coach on their team, right? Thankfully, those at Gravity and Oxygen Fitness have the coaches within the gym and many other gyms across the country. But those that don't, you know, what are some tips that you would share in the nutrition space?
Yeah, sure. As far as like every day.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the one thing right now, and protein is really having its moment, right? Like it's in everything now. So everybody's capitalizing on that. Is for the first thing, like if you want to start to get control of your nutrition, you've got to take a look at what you're consuming for protein for so many reasons, right? Like our body stores carbohydrates, our body stores fats, but it doesn't store protein. So it's the one thing that we really have to be mindful of what we're consuming every single day. So for the person who doesn't have that coach in their corner and maybe they don't know where to start, I think looking at the protein that we're taking in is a great place. I also like to look at nutrition through a pyramid, right? Like not the food pyramid that, you know, was around for so long. But when we look at nutrition, we've got to take a look at the quality first. Okay, that is our base of our pyramid. It is the most important thing. So when you're just starting, does it make sense to go right into counting macros and tracking? Probably not. But what's one thing you can do? Take a look at the quality of the foods that you're taking in, right? So you're less minimally processed foods, like fruits, vegetables, and then good sources of protein. I think that's a perfect place for anybody to start.
Very good. Bruna, when it comes to strength training, so much research about strength training, body composition. Help us understand why that is so important, especially women, but for everybody.
So the big thing is the sarcopenia, right? We start losing muscle mass on the 30 years old and get on the long way. So keeping your strength and building the muscle is going to help you to prevent your joints, your bones, your metabolism that Mike's going to go through. So that's the main importance for your longevity, right?
Yeah. So the benefits you see so often when people start lifting, what are some of those that you see kind of, you know, I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, right?
No.
You got to be patient.
Oh, yes.
But what are some of the things you see and you encourage?
So I always talk to my clients about the consistency. So you can't compare yourself for someone that's lifting like for 20 years, you know, it's the same thing for a career. So you need to start slowly and consistent. Show up for yourself every single day.
Very good. We're going to bring Michael into the conversation here, turn to science a little bit. Some of the things, you know, I mean, when I met you, Michael, I had zero knowledge, you know, regarding all the specifics that you get into. And it's fascinating because you bring it to each individual client, which is very important.
Thank you.
But a lot of folks don't have that, you know, at their fingertips. So kudos to you too for bringing that into the sphere.
Thank you.
I guess if you could just, for those not familiar, what is metabolic testing?
So this is something I'm very passionate about. And one thing I've learned in the last couple of weeks is trying to make it simple.
Break it down.
As my colleagues will say.
Yes, layman's version, please. Cliff Notes version, please.
It is the glue that holds everything together. So everything that Haley talked about and everything that Bruna talked about, metabolic testing gives us specific measures, unlike most assessments that are out there, because it allows us to really find out our processes to get specific to the individual. What works for me is not going to work for you, or works for Bruna, or might not work for Haley. So to be customized to everyone's different approach allows us greater scope as to how we can help our clients.
Why do you think it hasn't been in the conversation or in, you know, the fitness space as much as it is now today?
It's a great question. I think it's an awareness. People want the quick fix. Right? Well, we're one of the things that we're doing is we're setting people up for life longevity. Metabolic testing gives us such great data. There's a lot in the last, I'd say 10, 15 years. Other companies have come out with different devices. At Gravity and Oxygen, we have the Mercedes-Benz of metabolic testing. We have the device, the machine. It's medical grade. I was lucky enough to have that experience when I was working at Equinox for 20 years. And when I was working there, I saw the need in our industry to educate people on the importance of metabolic testing. Because not only will it help you get to your goals, it'll help you to live longer, lower health markers, increase energy. Bruna mentioned a great point about sarcopenia. One of the great things about what we do at Gravity and Oxygen is that while we're doing your resting test, when I took you through it, I can see in real time what macronutrients or fats, proteins, and carbs you use in real time while you're at rest. I can get so much data from that bit of information when I talk with Haley and I talk with Bruna and we're sitting around collaborating on your program. I can show them the data. So when you're working out, you're stressing your body. If you're stressed out constantly and then I'm giving you more stress, it's going to create metabolic chaos. So as a team and as a collective, we can take this data to really get specific on how do we take Paige, for example, in this 6-week cycle so we can lower these numbers, increase this numbers. So this way we can allow her to step into that space where she can achieve her goals.
Another word that you all use is VO2 max. Explain that one.
So basically, as Paul so eloquently says, your cardio credit score, and it's a great depiction of your overall cardiovascular health. The higher your VO2, the better conditioned your heart is to do work for longer intensities.
Okay. So, you mentioned when I came in for my testing, I mean, we were in it. It was an hour. It doesn't take long. It's not like a whole day of testing. It's very simple. You're laying down and resting for some of it. And then you worked me on the bike for a little bit too, right?
Yes.
So if you're explaining that process before, you start your whole fitness regimen, how do you walk people through the metabolic testing?
Well, basically, the process is very easy. There is a fast that's involved because again, we want you at rest, right? Cells in our body get excited quickly. Environment plays a huge role in how we exercise, how we behave just out in the world. So what we do is we put you in a nice, comfortable room, right? In a nice, comfortable chair. So you're comfortable. That seems to be the proper adjective, I think.
Yes.
Because we want you at rest. So we can obtain the most quantifiable and qualifiable data. Remember, data is only as good as the quality. So we want to make sure we set everyone up for success. So there is a 5-hour fast minimum involved. We ask people not to drink caffeine, stay hydrated, no intense exercise 12 to 24 hours prior so that you're rested. From there, you just breathe for 15 to 20 minutes based upon how I'm able to look at how the data is going. The more time we get, the more we can objectify what's going on, but we don't want to make people test for too long. After that test, we'll allow you to get some type of sugar, a little bit of energy like we did with you, because you don't want to go into a VO2 max test without any type of substance. And then from there, we'll put you through a progressive graded exercise test. We want to make sure that as time goes on, intensity increases. That's really the best way to get a true value of your body's ability to maximize its aerobic output.
Okay.
And then from there, after that data is collected, team and I sit down, we figure out the low-hanging fruit, like the easiest things for people to accomplish first, so that as they achieve or work towards their long-term goals, they can have goals within that goal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And everyone reads those results, right? And so we share it and figure out how to kind of work from there.
It's a team. It's a teamwork. It's unique in the space today. A lot of people work in silos, but this is a really cohesive team. And when I stepped into this space and Paul gave me that opportunity and that platform, I felt something so special as soon as I walked through those doors. And I hope that everyone that I come in contact with can feed off that feeling that I have.
Has there anything been surprising about a lot of clients, like results at the get-go? Or is everyone on different pages, or is there kind of a common starter? Right? I know everyone's on different levels, but what are some surprising, facts about the testing?
Good question.
Great question. No pun intended, Paige. but some people are on different pages, right?
Love it.
And so,
Absolutely.
there some things will stand out, especially if people are supplementing with hormone replacement therapy, or they're doing something that's affecting their metabolism on a medication level. So usually beforehand, we'll send out a questionnaire beforehand. So this way I can customize the tests. It's called a health risk appraisal. So this way, after the RMR test that we do, we usually, before we get into the VO2 max, I'll allow you to eat and get some sugar, and then we'll have a conversation. So this way I can take what you've answered before, like a pre-screen, and kind of dig a little bit deeper, because everyone's motivated by different things. And when you talk about nutrition and strength, a common denominator through all that's mindset. If we can understand people's behaviors as coaches, we can get more selectorized in how we coach them, because everyone responds differently to different things,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So when we're talking about the team, right? Like for everybody, none of this comes easy. I mean, maybe the hour that we're sitting with Michael, but then from there, a lot of things. I mean, well, the bike was not easy for me. Once you up the ante on that one, the first couple minutes was fine. But it's all, like you said, when you use that word mindset, right? If you want to each talk about mindset in your space, and what's so important about mindset for your clients, for yourself. What are your thoughts on that? We'll just kind of work around.
Well, for me, I look at myself as a health and wellness practitioner. There's a shift in our industry, getting away from the term personal training, and as Paul and I talked about, using the term health and human performance coach, because of what's available and how science has kind of changed life and mostly every industry through technology. Personal training is not what it used to be. It's a longevity practice. It's an alternative form of preventative medicine. Because if you're able to take care of yourself, you're going to have lower health risks. You're going to have greater energy. Everything's going to change. So my mindset when I work with a client is, I'm a health and wellness practitioner. If you go to your doctor and they didn't have a copy of your medical records, how would you feel? Right? Working with us, we keep diligent records of everybody because, again, we want to be able to show progress. And that's how I approach my clients. Myself, I believe, I spoke about this with somebody, I can't remember. I reference back to the Bible. This quick 1 Corinthians 9:27. I discipline my body like an athlete, training to do what it should. Otherwise, I fear after preaching to others, I myself may be disqualified. So I try to practice what I preach, essentially, because I don't want people looking at me any differently.
That's strong. Love that. That's
Thank
great. Great. How about you, Haley?
So to piggyback a little bit off, what Michael said to one of his earlier points, data is just as good as the quality of it, but quality data is only good if you execute on it. So, our role in this space is really to just educate our clients on, where they're at and what that means for the future for them, right? In our space, we see everything. We see youth athletes who are just trying to learn how to manage their body weight. We see professional level athletes. We see the average person that just wants to maintain. We see people with bodybuilding goals. And then we see the senior citizen who needs help sitting and standing, or maybe didn't prioritize fitness their entire life. So with all this data that we're gathering, if we can take that and present it to somebody like yourself who is a mom and is busy and may not understand all that goes into or why nutrition and strength training is so important. But if we can sit here and say to you, Paige, if you start on this journey with us now, guess what? In 30, 40 years, you're going to be playing with your grandkids with no problem. You're going to walk up a flight of stairs like it's cake. So I always like to take the mindset approach of like, what does the future look like for you? And like, what's your why? Like, why are you training? And, I am a forever student. I love to learn. So almost to a fault sometimes where I'll just spill info all the time on my clients. But I think we truly are on the preventative side. And if we have the skill set and the knowledge to help you live a better, 1, 2, 10, 20, whatever years ahead, then if I'm not giving that to you and sharing that with you, then I'm doing you a disservice. So that's kind of the approach that I take, or I guess why I do what I do, or the mindset I apply to my work.
Yeah. How about you, Bruna, when it comes to mindset?
I had to change my mindset to change myself. So I keep reminding myself why, exactly what Haley said, why I'm doing this, why I need to show for myself. So, and I try to give the information for my clients and listen to them, especially because everybody's different. Everybody's in different level of the life, and life happens, right? That's the big thing. So sometimes you're consistent for 1 month, and the next month something change, but you keep show up, and then that's your mindset. Remind yourself the why and keep going.
Keep going. And I love the encouragement, whether it's in your classes or a quick text message on check-ins, it's appreciated. And I think it's all part of the team concept. So kudos on that front as well. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about a few things that I wanted to kind of touch upon. We'll talk a little bit more about busy people and how we work around that and with that. Perhaps a couple things if Paul has got his notes in his head going on that we're forgetting to mention, and also some quick tips and takeaways that are going to be really important and meaningful with the Gravity and Oxygen Fitness team. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Paige Kornblue Show, part 2 here of Gravity and Oxygen Fitness team. We've got Paul Christopher, founder and owner, and his trio here that's with us in studio, Michael, Haley, and Bruna. What a dynamic group. This is out of the Boca Raton studio, fitness center, gym, right? All the above. And a great place. I jumped into this journey with you all, and we just were talking about the dynamics of Michael took all the data, the science, tested me, but I'm not a numbers person. I don't look at those graphics and cannot read them as accurately as you all can. That's your space, right? But we were just talking about how then he passed them on to Haley, Bruna, and the coaches there, who then are able to kind of digest it for me as an individual client. So Haley, take it away in terms of how that's so important for those of us who are running and gunning, booking that 1 hour of time in the gym. This is across the board. So many people this
Of course.
day and age.
And, Paige, I think you're a perfect example, right? So there may be people listening to this podcast that are like, I don't care about numbers. I don't care about tracking my macros. I don't know what I need to have, or that's not how I live my life. And that's probably more people. Us, we love this stuff. So I want to track everything and count it all. But I think you're the perfect example, right? You're a busy mom. You're traveling. You're working. You're on the go. You're dropping your kids off in the morning, and so meals, getting your timing in, eating enough, all that's really tricky. So Mike gathered all the data, right? He got what your body uses as fuel, carbs, fats, like what percentage of that is. We got how many calories you're burning a day at rest and what your calorie burn probably looks like on workout days. So we can sit here and present all of that to you, and you're like, this is a different language to me. I don't know what to do with that. But where we really collaborate and work as a team is Mike initiates the testing. He passes it on to me. Remember that 3-day food log we did, right? So while you have no idea how many proteins, carbs that you're taking in, I'm looking at your data for where you should be. And then you're just sending me pictures and telling me what you're eating. And I'm able to now coach you and say, hey, we got to add here. We got to look at this. We got to tweak. So, the numbers are important to us, but for you guys and just for the average person, like with those numbers, we can guide you of, okay, how many servings of protein does that look like for you? And whether that's, a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack, or it's 2 meals and 3 snacks, great. You just got to cover that part. We'll cover the counting and the numbers. So that's really kind of how we work behind the scenes. But I think you're a great example of the average person, right? So for you, it's been, how do we make sure that we're eating good quality foods on the go? What can we do to prep? What can we do to plan ahead of time? And then what are those good options when we are on the road for 8-9 hours out of the day, or you're traveling? Like, what are our local places that can be go-tos for where you know you can get a healthy meal? So no matter the lifestyle, or, you know, whether you're a work from home person who has the luxury of really dialing into their nutrition, or somebody like yourself, like there's always ways to be better and ways to improve and ways to get our nutrition more on track.
What would you say for those who perhaps have not jumped into a fitness routine or a local gym, you know, to get going, right? They think they're so busy, and what would you all say is kind of the best tips to start?
So I'll start off here. I think the biggest mistake that people make is they try to do everything all at once. I haven't been doing anything, but I'm going to go to the gym 5 times this week. Well, you haven't gone to the gym once last week. So what makes you think you're going to stick with 5 times this week? Or you're going to now start counting your macros? It's really difficult to implement multiple habits at a time. So I always like to say, what's one thing we can do? I also believe in positive affirmations in a sense. Like, okay, if you can drink your water for this whole week, great, huge win. Let's do it again next week. What can we try this week? So really breaking it down and starting slow. I think that's my best tip. Don't come out the gates too hot.
Yeah. Slow your roll.
That's it.
How about you, Bruna?
You need, like, continue what Haley says. Find the easy transition for you. It's okay. I can commit myself to go 2 times a week. That's it. Keep for a month like that. And then the next month, you add something else. Exactly. Little by little.
And Michael,
Well, I won't get too complex
yeah.
as I can sometimes,
Yeah.
but just move. Sitting is the new smoking.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Well
you live in an
said.
apartment building, use the stairs. Try that a couple times a week. Over time, you're going to build a threshold, because that's science. And I love science.
Yeah. Love it. Keep it simple. Very
That's
good. At the break, Paul, we were talking a little bit about Bruna's journey and how meaningful that is. Why don't you lead into that one so we can touch upon that?
Well, thank you. I'd be honored. I will first say that I was not there to witness the initial journey and transformation for Bruna. But at some point in her life, she decided to make a change. And something that led to her success had principles in it. So as she came to me as a interested fitness professional to join our team, I wanted to learn about her carnally. And there's a story that led to it. And there's everything from the whys to photos. And the person that I know is not the person she was, but I'm going to let her speak as to what led to her extreme success and what was the precipice moment that said, you know what, I need different in my life.
Well, at a point in my life, I couldn't even look into the mirror. I couldn't look to myself. And that was when everything changed. So I cannot continue doing that. I need to do something. And I started slowly. I started finding some activity I like it. And for example, was boxing. I'm passionate with boxing. And I started doing boxing. I lose weight. Then I go to nutrition, continue. I find CrossFit. And then everything changed. Yeah. So I worked at the lab during pandemic. I was a lab technician. And I was so overwhelmed. And I say, you know what? I love fitness. I changed my life. And I know I can help people with my journey. And then I decided to become a personal training health coach and CrossFit coach.
Oh,
Yes.
Love it.
I love that. I love that. I remember when I first met you, Bruna, it was when you all were doing pop-ups at the Boca Raton at the resort, and you were tough but very friendly. But I was like, whew, we were outside, and you know, it was not an easy course, but you were on it, and I was like, I like this. I felt really great. You know, when you feel it's so hard during that hour, but when at the end, and you feel so good.
That's the best sensation. That's
Sounds
the
like Bruna.
best thing. Yes.
Yeah. So it was wonderful. So yes, that's a great highlight to the story. Thanks for sharing that. What What are, for some quick tips and takeaways, a small daily habit that you each have or that you want to share that's good, that makes a difference? Michael.
Make your bed.
Start your day right.
Yeah.
Because if you make your bed, you're going to feel a sense of accomplishment. You're going to carry that with you throughout your day. So that small win can lead to something really big, especially when we talked about mindset. And one of the great things about starting to exercise or move is that your mindset's going to shift, because now there's a good release going inside your body. You're getting away from that distress and creating that good stress called eustress. So making your bed can kind of make you feel like, everything's nice and neat, put away. I can now start my day.
I work on that with my kids too. And then they'll say, but Mom, you didn't make yours yet. And I'm like, I'm on it. I'm on it. My mom did that, but I'm not so good at that. Just make it, right? Doesn't have to be perfect.
As long as it's made.
That's right. Haley.
So I'm a big believer in something called decision fatigue, right? When you wake up in the morning, you have to figure out, what am I going to wear? What am I going to eat for breakfast? What's my first move? So something that I do, and I actually share this with my nutrition clients a lot, and people seem to have success, is the night before, I will lay out what I have to do for the next day. Like sort of like a schedule, a planner, a to-do list, call it what you want. But for me, I'll take a look at my day. For us, we live and die by the calendar and the clock, right? So I'll look at, the appointments that I have scheduled. Where am I going to fit in my meals? And where is my workout going to be, right? Because what happens so often is, I'll get it in later. I'll get it in this afternoon. And then things come up and it never happens. So my habit that works for me and that I share with some of my clients is to just take a look at your following day the night before. Look at what your day looks like.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Very helpful. How about you, Bruna?
For me, it's meditation. Before bed, I do my meditation. I reflect to the day and, what I want to propose for the next day. So that's what I do for my mindset.
Is it the same every day? Music or a candle?
It's music sometimes, depend on what's going on in life. I do some candles. It's what I feel. I need it.
A moment to pause.
Exactly. To pause. Yeah, exactly.
Paul, I'm going to bring you in on this one.
I would simply say, choose happiness. Whatever you do, make it happy. So if we're talking about fitness and movement, what form of movement makes you happy? Is it yoga? Is it Pilates? Is it walking on the beach? Is it lifting weights? Right? Is it swimming? Just find something that makes you happy. And what this phrase that's been coming to my mind lately has been healthy, happy rich, and healthy wealthy. So find something that really you enjoy, and in that's creating that made bed of happiness. Tie in.
Okay, how about a myth that you'd love to kick or retire?
You have 2 hours for this or what? Because there's so much out there.
All right, one.
Oh gosh, for women especially, lifting weights will not make you bulky. For the love of all things health and fitness related, lifting weights will not make you bulky. Lack of proper nutrition will, but lifting weights won't.
Michael?
Well, it's not a myth, but more of a mindset that people will go into a caloric deficit and train really, really hard, and they'll have the perception that that's sustained success long term. And really it creates metabolic chaos. And I'm going to capitulate what Haley had said earlier about nutrition, right? It's like the more you eat, the more you'll be able to maintain and grow, because as you're increasing your muscle mass, and with the metabolic testing, we can look at sarcopenia or muscle loss. Lean muscle tissue loves food and fuel. It's like if I had an ice cube and put it up against a heater. If the heat's on low, that ice cube's gonna melt a little bit longer as if I had that heat on fast. So as we're having this conversation, the more properly fueled that I am, as I'm talking to you, I'm burning calories more efficiently. My muscles are loving the food that it's able to convert into energy, and I'm gonna feel so much better having this conversation.
Can I piggyback off that really quick?
Absolutely.
I think that's the beauty to tie some things together in metabolic testing is, back to myths. People are like, oh, I just have a slow metabolism, or my body likes to store things here. Well, then we ask questions of how long have you been in a calorie deficit for? You're not meant to stay there. And that's the beauty about metabolic testing is we can see where you're at, but that's not your end all be all. Like through intentional programming, through exercise, through cardiovascular training, through proper nutrition, we can change that. So where you're at doesn't necessarily dictate where you're always going to be. So to tie that into a myth as well. Yeah.
And one last thing, I swear, there's no one size fits all.
Right.
Not one thing is good. Like Bruna, I love CrossFit, but there's other things. That works for me, that works for Bruna, but maybe, just traditional bodybuilding or like muscle building or just walking on the beach or playing volleyball or whatever it might be. As long as you're moving, you're winning.
Very important. We talked this morning about changing my mom roles with the carrying twins. I said, Haley, I have the skin. She said, sometimes there's skin there too that's stretched so much.
Right.
There's little things that, we work on. So all of that is important. Bruna, how about something you'd love to retire? Kick.
Don't be scared about carbs.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
That's a good one.
Thank you. That's
Yes.
so good. Thank you.
Choose the good carbs. Don't be scared. We need it. We need to inject a lot of carbs.
Well, on that topic too, you can go on social media and you can spend a minute there and you're going to see one post that tells you to not eat carbs, one post that tells you to just eat fat, one post that tells you you only need this amount of protein. And there's so much of an abundance of information out there. And the credibility may not always be there, right? So don't believe everything that's on the internet too. And it's so individualized. Like Mike was saying, what works for Bruna may not work for me, and what works for Paul may not work for Mike. And that's just the science and the beauty of this thing all being a journey.
Great points, because I think that's such a, it can be so overwhelming, right?
So overwhelming.
No matter what, it's like, what's bad for us? What's good for us? What's not? What's an okay thing? What's not okay? And then sometimes you just got like arms up in the air, you know? And so it's like, let's circle back, keep it simple.
Exactly.
So on that note, what's a good reminder or quote or something that you hold tight? I like to call them keepers. Something that you like to share with everybody, whether it's a quote or a reminder or go-to phrase. Is there anything that you would want to share?
I have my personal. Yeah. So while I'm doing my journey I wasn't losing weight, I always remember myself, you are stronger than that, the feeling, the fatigue, and you can achieve whatever you want. So that's my quote.
Keep
repeating to yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a couple things that I can add, but at the end of the day, it comes down to being consistent, right? I like to look at it through math, right? And I heard another coach talk about this one time, and it has stuck with me, and I share it with all of my nutrition clients too. It's a little bit of a harsh truth, but you can be good 7 out of 7 days, right? That's 100% of the time. Very unsustainable, probably really boring. I don't know anybody that wants to live life that way. Very difficult. And then you can be good 6 out of 7 days, right? So now we're already down to about like 82% around there, okay? Which is not bad, right? We always hear about the 80-20 lifestyle. But think about that. That's 6 out of 7 days. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that you are hitting all of your numbers and feeling appropriately and all of that. And then we take it down to 5 out of 7 days, which is probably where a lot of us live. 4 or 5 out of 7 days, we're on track. And now we're looking at 5 days is low 70%, maybe even lower than that. 4 days out of the week, we're in just above 50% of the time, right? Which is our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But then it's been a hell of a week and Friday's here. So, I look at it through simple math, right? Like we've got to be honest with ourselves and have realistic expectations. This is a journey. It takes time, but it takes consistency, and it takes doing all the boring stuff. There's no quick fix, right? Everyone's going to sell you this, that, and the other that's going to help, but there truly isn't a quick fix to health and good health. So just being consistent is the most important thing.
How about you, Michael?
I'll give something perspective based. I get to do the greatest job in the world. I get to be a health and human performance coach. I get to help people every day. I've been going to a gym since I was 7 years old. My parents are divorced, so my father would take me to the gym with him. So I'd watch him work out since I was like 7. And that would be our idea of quality time. But little did it know, here I am 20 years later, because I'm still a young man, that I made a career out of it. And it's a passion. I always wanted to coming from a family where my parents were split up, I wanted to help my mom, right? And I tried, but I couldn't. But through development in life, I realized that I'm being used by God or whatever people believe in, to almost like a ministry to help other people. So when I look at you as a mom, as someone's sister possibly, like as someone's daughter, like that's a responsibility that I hold very near and dear to me. And I give my clients and anybody that I work with, my team, all of me, because I feel like it's like I'm being used by God to serve. It's almost like a ministry in a way, where it's like I can help people and live my life's passion and purpose through health and human performance coaching. And nothing makes me feel better at the end of the day. There's no amount of money, no amount of accolades than knowing I've helped someone. And that's what it's really all about.
Well, you're in the right place, all of you. I'm going to share mine real quick, and then I'm going to kick it to Paul to close us out, because I bet he's got a good one, right? So mine, I've always used to say coffee in the morning and wine at night. And then my quote was always, may all of your joy be pure joy and all of your pain champagne. Do we see a trend here, guys?
Yeah.
But today, and thanks to you all, I'm really not going that way these days anymore. And I say it's so important to schedule your fitness and make sure you're scheduling it to kick off what some of the things we said. Make it a priority, right? You have to. Just like everything else in your life. And so with all the things I've got going on, I just said no to a concert and party bus, because I'm like, I don't really want to do that. Yeah. I want to go to the gym in the morning, and I want to schedule it, and I want that to be, a big part of my weekend instead. And so the more you schedule it, the more it becomes part of your routine, and that's when it becomes part of your journey.
That's true.
So
absolutely.
That's my tip. Paul?
Show up. Whatever it is, do it with conviction. Do it 110%. Just show up. Bruna preached upon consistency. Getting there is half the battle, right? That's really it is. Focus on quality over quantity, right? In exercise, it could mean doing too much weight or doing something too fast, right? Focus on the quality of your relationships, quality of your movement, right? And I also want to circle back to one of the questions you talked about, like defeating fads, right? I could easily say, okay, there's no such thing as spot reducing. I think most people hopefully understand that. I think modern day, don't think that biochemistry and the modern advancement of biochemistry of all forms, GLPs, hormones, you name it, substitute 8 hours of sleep, whole food eating, water, drinking water, all those components, right? And just finding healthy relationships. Those things cannot be outdone by biochemistry. So that's my final tie-in. And it's been a joy watching your journey with us at Gravity Knox. We're honored to have our team here to really explain to your viewership what you've been going through. And hopefully it's been enjoyable and you've been happy in doing it. Yeah. And just honored to have such a team with us, believing in the mission. And if anybody's interested, they know where to find us, through you. Thank you.
But why don't you share real quick how do people connect with you?
Okay, they could go to gravityandaction.com. You can find us on Instagram. Of course, you can Google us. You can find our information, a phone call, a website, an email to contact us for your journey. Of course, we're entering Q4 of 2025, and I'm sure people are coming around the horn into the next year already thinking about what they want to do as far as their personal physical levels of health. So we can be that provider in all ways.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll put all those links on my website. That's paigekornblue.com, Paige with an I and Kornblue with a K. So I'll put all those on there as well. And we always like to put our clips on social media. So that's at Paige Kornblue Media, and Gravity and Oxygen's right alongside there too. So thank you all, because quite a team of coaches. I'd say those here in Boca Raton and South Florida, very lucky to have you here. And I think your tips will help anybody and everybody listening, no matter where they are. So much appreciated, Michael, Haley, Bruna, and Paul.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Until
much.
next time, everybody, cheers.